Hello everybody, this is Robert with Pronunciator. I'll give you an overview of all the features and content, and if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to write them in the chat box and I'll get to them as I'm doing the presentation or after. We could also have a Q&A after the presentation as well. So it seems like some more people are still arriving, so I'll just hang on another minute before beginning, and then we'll launch right into the demo. Okay, looks like we could begin now, and I'm recording this, so in case anybody does come late, I'll always have a recording for them to view, and if you have to leave early, once again, I'll have a recording of the whole session. You can always review later on. So here's the main website. Once you register, create an account, you could always go either through the LiLI website or directly through Pronunciator and access that way. And of course, you can launch the app on the website in any browser, whether it be a mobile browser or a desktop or laptop browser as well. And we have apps in the app stores as well, which essentially are the same things as what I'll be showing you here, because it uses the same exact HTML5, which is responsive and accessible as well. So I'll launch the app here. And I'd already logged in before, so I don't have to log in now. And as we see, we have a few new features which we've recently introduced. I'll go over those in some detail, but I want to give a general organizational overview first, and then go more into detail, just to give you a familiarity with how the program is organized. So the main choice you have to make on this screen is just the language that you want to learn. By default, the language that you speak natively, or what we call the interface language or learning language, is English, but there are about 56 other languages in which you can learn any of the languages we offer. So what this means is that the translations, the interface menu, navigation options, etc., will all be presented in the language of your choice here. So it means that someone can learn English in from any of these 56 languages, but it also means that you can learn any of the other 100 languages that we offer from any of these languages. So if you're a native Thai speaker and want to learn Russian, for example, you could do it completely in a Thai context and don't have to go through English as your intermediary language. So I will demonstrate later on how the interface looks if you choose a different interface language, like Spanish, for example. But for now, just keep it in English as I'm going over this general overview. And here again, the languages to learn. There are currently 100, including the recently introduced American Sign Language course, which is completely made up of videos. And we have 20,000 videos in the course, making it by far the largest ASL course in the world. And interestingly, you can learn ASL from any of those 56 interface languages as well. We're also rolling out a Mexican Sign Language course as well. And also new is a Mexican Spanish course to complement the Latin American Spanish and Spanish from Spain courses that we already have. Anyway, here are all the courses. And what I'll do is I'll just select French. And we have three options when we select the language to learn. We can either create or resume personalized courses that we may have created in this language. We can go into the main course, which is something that was present before we introduced personalized courses, which was about a month and a half ago, but it's still there. And or you can do learning guides, which are structured, pre-structured courses in addition to video courses and grammatical references and other goodies that we put under this umbrella of learning guides. So as you see here, we have three main choices to make here. And the topmost one is for personalized courses for a reason. This is what we recommend people do, which is to create truly custom courses just for the learner and their needs. And as you see, I have a lot of test courses here. But what I'll do is I'll create a new one. And so we have two options here. You can select topics that interest you, and there are about 50 different categories. And basically you just go through and say, I like pets, I like style, I like food, etc. And as long as you have at least 5 of these, you'll be allowed to continue to the next step. So you need to, in order to populate, especially a long course with enough instructional phrases, we require that you do at least 5 of these interests. But you can select as many as you like. You could just, select them all if you want to. Or you can select your occupation. And we have 60 occupations. So let's say you're a landscaper, and you want to learn English. Of course, I chose French here, but let's say you're a landscape gardener, want to learn French and work in the gardens of Versailles. You would just select this and go next and continue to the next options. There's also for librarian, and these 60 professions are generally the most popular professions out there in terms of the number of people employed in those occupations. So let's just say I'm an architect and I want to learn French with a particular slant toward architecture. I would just click Next, select the skill level, beginner, intermediate, or advanced. I'll say I'm a beginner. And the age range, and there are 5 different age ranges from 0 to 65 plus. Let's say I'm 30 to 64. And here we have the weeks that you want the course to last. And you can specify any number of weeks. Let's say you're going on a trip in 4 weeks. You only have 4 weeks to prepare, 3 weeks to prepare. You can make it into 4-week course. 4 weeks is the minimum, and 52 is the maximum. So, we select 8 weeks as just the most popular option. But let's say I want to go to 16 weeks, make it a 4-month course. Go next. And then we choose a number of phrases per day. 6 is the recommended number just based on research in terms of how many new phrases people can learn in a language each day. But you can tamp that down to 4 or really go hog wild and anywhere up to 20 phrases per day. Then you can also further personalize the course by selecting whether you want more drills or more quizzes to make up your course. And drills are meant for learning it, and exercises, and quizzes are for reinforcing and evaluating. So by default, we have an equal mix here, as you see. Then you can either choose to not use your microphone, or even if you don't have a microphone, you choose this. So you're not going to be given exercises or quizzes that involve microphone use. Or you can leave it selected if you want to use it. And then we have, you can select or deselect webcam. And webcam is only used in like the American Sign Language course, where we have a feature called video comparison, where you can actually have your attempts at signing videoed and played back side by side with the native sign language speaker to see how you compare. And it's really helpful for learning. But otherwise, you don't need the webcam because, again, most of the exercises don't use it. So let's put next. And then we select our learning goals. And there are 4 learning goals possible. There's speaking, understanding, reading, and writing. And you can say, okay, speaking is very important and understanding is really important. So you can give equal weight to separate learning goals. Let's say reading is of secondary importance and writing, let's say it's of least importance. And here you can actually have a daily reminder via email sent that will be sent the same time that you last logged in the next day, and will automatically log you in and bring you back to where you left off. So if you're on a mobile device, for example, you could just simply tap that reminder and it will log you in and bring you right back to where you left off, make it really easy to resume. And then we just give our course a name, and I'll just call this Architect Demo, and I'll build the course. And then we'll find the course now under our personalized courses. And remember it was a 16-week course I created, so we can see all the weeks here under the level menu, which is up here again. And then under each week we have 5 days and 1 day of review, which covers all the things we've learned. And if you want to just quickly see what phrases we'll be learning here, notice we started out with a complex one, but we continue with with more easy ones, and we do that deliberately. And all the instructional phrases we have are all graded by lexical complexity. So if you're selecting a beginner level, it's going to give you ones that are 90% really easy and 10% more difficult, but not really difficult. Notice another new feature, which if you've used it before, you wouldn't have seen, and that is we have an indication of the gender where applicable in select languages. So here it shows that sous-sol, basement in French, is a masculine noun, and then it shows you the definite and indefinite articles. And if there's a partitive article, it'll also show that. And what we do here is just click on them
Le sous-sol.
To hear it pronounced.
Un sous-sol.
And again, we can hear the noun itself.
Sous-sol.
And play it at a slower speed as well.
Sous-sol.
And so notice that we have this progression. We start with the listening drill, and notice as we go through this day, we're going to be doing all these different drills and then all these different quizzes. So by the end of it, we will have pretty much mastered these 6 phrases that we're learning in this particular day. And the quizzes are all marked with these little stars next to them. And when you take a quiz, it'll fill in either gold or red, depending on how well you did in that quiz. There's also a new thing called video. And
Est-ce que tu as construit des maisons?
So here we have, and we can hide the text so we can actually see her face better. And here we have native speakers actually pronouncing each instructional phrase. So you can see someone saying it, and it really mimics how we as children learned language. We didn't have our eyes closed. We were actually looking at the person speaking, and you see their mouth and their expressions and how their lips are moving and their tongue even. And then you can play it back again, normal speed.
Est-ce que tu as construit des maisons?
Or slow speed.
Est-ce que tu as construit des maisons?
And then we can go through this for all the different.
Sous-sol.
And then here we have, again, different. I'm not going to go over each. We have like 22 different options between drills and quizzes, and we don't have enough time to cover them. But just be aware that we try to address every aspect of language acquisition through the drills and quizzes, getting you speaking out loud, getting you to write and to read, etc. And again, remember, in my personalization, I pretty much specify what my learning goals were and how important they were to me. So these drills and quizzes will be formed based on that. So once again, you go through 5 days, and then there's a review day, and that covers all the
argile,
and it starts with a video. And it covers all the different words that we learned in this particular week. So we can just, go back to them. Another interesting feature in personalized courses is that I just clicked on the export to PDF button on the upper left. And so this is a study guide that is created just for you based on your specific course. I'm just going to make it legible here. Go to 100%. So in this particular case, it's a 16-week course. There are 67 pages, and it starts with a cover page. Then we have a table of contents, which goes, remember, week 1, day 1. If we click on that, it will go here. It covers all the terms we learned in that day. Then we have week 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. And this is and the week 1 review is right here, everything in one spot. Then we have, again, week 2. As you see, it's a really nicely organized 67-page study guide for your course and only your course that you can download and use for review purposes. So I'll get out of that. And so what I'll do now is go back to this selection here. And interestingly, if I go back to the very first page, it'll show me, see, I have 3 options here to resume where I last left off. Here I can resume the most recent personalized course that I've created. Notice it was Architect Demo in French. And then if I wanted to resume from the main course or learning guides, I could just click on here directly. So anyway, I'll go back to French, and we'll show you now the main course options. And here we have 2 ready selections to, if someone wants to have a guided course and just learn phrases, particularly for tourists and travelers. Then we have this postcards course, ready and waiting to begin. And then if you wanted to not have a guided approach, wanted to cobble together your own drills, your own quizzes, your own topics of interest, then you can just go off the beaten path and you're on your own. You can do whatever you want in that main course. Now, the main course, to explain what it is it's the repository of all possible instructional phrases for any given language, as well as other multimedia things like movies and music and poetry and plays. And so each language will have a different mix of things available for it. But essentially, if you really wanted to go back, to really, delve into without going to the personalized course or any other structured things, you could really do whatever you want in the main course, as I'll show you. Now watch, I'm going to click on some of these quick links. This one is to language learning levels. And notice here are all the levels in the main course. So since the main course is structured in a building block approach, you can actually start at the very beginning of a language and go into core vocabulary. There are 2,000 of the most commonly used words in the language in the core vocabulary level, with all the drills and quizzes imaginable. And then you can also work on verb conjugations and 100 most commonly used verbs. Then you create sentences using the vocabulary and the verbs that you've previously learned. And powerful phrases continues that. And conversation is a simulated conversation where you can jump in, the female or male role and have it played back as a seamless whole. Then we have other levels. These are all feature films. This is under construction currently. There's music. There's a full theatrical production of Cyrano de Bergerac with facing page English translation. French poetry with facing page translation, job interview preparation in French. So I'm just going to jump into core vocabulary here.
pomme,
So notice in the upper left, it shows us our current level, core vocabulary. And again, we can drop that down and see that level menu again if we want. And then within core vocabulary, you see the units that are available. Notice that there are about 100 different units, I imagine, in core vocabulary. And because we organized all those 2,000 most commonly used words into topical categories. And here the default one is agriculture, and then it covers all these different other ones. And then these icons that you see here indicate, like this trophy here, indicates you've completed I've completed all the quizzes in that particular unit. In here, there's a gold star next to musical instruments. And that, notice, I'm not sure it's visible. I'll try to zoom in a bit. Oh, never mind. And that indicates I've started the quizzes but haven't completed them. Here under people, if you can see this, it's about halfway full. So I've done about half the quizzes, just to give it a visual overview of how you're progressing. We also have these little red flags, you see over here. And that indicates I have flashcards up for review in that particular unit. And lastly, this little smiley face indicates that the unit is of particular interest to kids. And the presentation is the same, it just has more things that kids may find interesting, like insects and flowers and animals and things like that. So now again, we're in the agriculture unit. And notice here, we just show you pomme, the root of the noun. And here again is the indication of gender, as well as the different articles. There's definite, indefinite, and partitive.
de la pomme, une pomme, la pomme.
So in all of these, as you see, all these little recordings were recorded separately. It wasn't just a mechanical process of adding la, une, and de la to the root, because like particularly in French, you have the liaison. So things get pronounced differently based on what the words are. So we actually, re-recorded thousands and thousands of these just to make sure it was correct. So again, you have all these drills here. There's listening, flashcards, voice comparison, where you play back your pronunciation side by side with a native speaker. Pronunciation analysis, where you get a real-time score based on how well you pronounce it. And assuming you're in a quiet location, it's quite reliable.
Pomme,
Pam, not so good, right?
pomme,
Pomme, better. And it'll actually, if I choose automatic, we can do automatic, it'll play the next phrase automatically after you complete this, if you click this button. Otherwise, you have to do it manually, like I have here. And then there's Pronunciation Coach, which uses a student-teacher dynamic to teach vocabulary. It uses it asks questions, and based on your answer, it will either indicate tips for progress or reward you because it's aware of trending as well. Then there's Vocabulary Coach, teaches vocabulary in that way. And then there's Writing, which is like a dictation drill. And then you also need special characters. And if I get some letters wrong, it'll put it in red and show me the correct ones, so I can just correct myself. It's a drill. It's not scored. I mean, the score isn't saved, even though you see your score. So you can just correct it as much as you like. And to see your quiz scores anytime, up here in the upper right is something called My Stats. And My Stats is a visual dashboard showing you all. This is just for this level, core vocabulary. It shows all the units and all the quizzes. I can just mouse over and see my score, and the low scores are in red. And then it also indicates areas for improvement. In my case, pronunciation, reading comprehension. So I can focus on those things. And let's say I want to just take the reading comprehension quiz in the botany unit. All I have to do is click here, and it'll go right there to that quiz. You see, and this is the reading comprehension. Oh, I haven't, sorry. I was, sorry. I jumped ahead of myself. So I was going over the drills before, and I wanted to talk about quizzes next. And these are the quizzes, and these are the ones where you have your scores saved. And there are currently 12 different quiz types. This is the reading comprehension as we see. It's a multiple choice.
terre,
And we have these hints in our chosen interface language, as we see here. We can suppress them just by clicking on it, as you see.
branche,
And then we have, I'll just quickly run over these other quiz types. We have vocabulary quiz. We have listening comprehension. There's spelling.
fleur,
And, based on if you get it wrong, it'll deduct a proportionate number of points. You see now we start at 80% now.
plante,
There's writing, which is like dictation as we saw before, but it's scored. Pronunciation quiz. There's an audio match quiz,
terre,
as you see.
terre,
There's another audio match quiz where you hear it in your
bush,
when you hear it in your interface language.
buisson,
And then it'll say it in the learning language.
herbs,
And then there's translation quiz.
flower,
fleur,
And there's another type of translation quiz.
fleur,
flower,
Phrase match. And here we match different say,
fleur,
and then it just goes through here.
feuille,
And then there's also a video quiz as well.
terre, terre,
And as we see, once again, I can just go under My Stats and see our quiz scores for this level, or we could see stats for the entire course. And these are all each row here is a level, as opposed to a unit, which we saw on the level in this stat presentation. And then there's stats for all courses in which we've taken at least one quiz. And we can export to PDF our stats. And it'll be a nicely presented format that we can use for like homeschool portfolio or just to keep track of things, have a record of them as well. So we also have this feature called, All right, I'll do this. A lot of things to cover here. We have something called ProSearch, which is like a virtual lexicon. You can search across the entire course. Let's say I'll search for maison. And this gives you an idea of just how rich the repository of instructional phrases is in Pronunciator, that we have just instructional phrases that contain the word maison. There are 117 phrases found, as we see here. And we could hear them pronounced.
C'est la quatrième maison à gauche.
We can go directly to that phrase in the course.
C'est la quatrième maison à gauche.
And we can go back. We don't have to redo our search. It'll actually save it. And if it's a movie that the phrase appears in, I just clicked on the phrase from the movie, and it'll go directly to the scene in the movie where the phrase is spoken. And there's the maison. And again, go back. We can also use it, and notice that our search language by default here is French. We could change it to English. And like, I wonder what a greenhouse is in French.
Serre.
And there it is, serre. And we can go directly to it in the course once again.
Serre.
And then, again, we were in the core vocabulary level. We also have, again, the essential verbs level.
Je suis d'accord.
Where we have the 100 most commonly used verbs. And And for each one, we have conjugations
Je m'excuse.
in the past, present, and future for all possible tenses. So as we all possible pronouns. Sorry. And so here we have the present, and then we'll see the past and the future. And for each of these, we have a collage.
Tu t'excuses.
Which illustrates the concept. So even if someone is non-literate in their native language, they can still learn English without knowing, let's say, Spanish, knowing how to read or write Spanish. You can still learn through pictures, as we see here. Good for literacy. And then creating sentences, it uses those same.
Je suis d'accord avec toi.
Uses those same verbs and forms more complex sentences with them.
Je m'excuse auprès d'elle.
As we see. And then powerful phrases is again meant primarily for tourists and travelers.
S'il vous plaît.
It has like 1,500. I forgot to mention. So like the French course has over 10,000 instructional phrases. So each of these levels has several thousand instructional phrases in them. And in the powerful phrases level, which we're in now, there are about 1,500 phrases. And it's all organized by all these practical topics that you might encounter, whether traveling or living abroad. Bargaining in market and exchanging money, parking, pets, using the phone, repairs, etc. We try to treat any kind of situation you might encounter. There's also an anti-harassment unit called Words for Women. And so, again, you could do these different drills or quizzes in these as well. And then there's also a virtual conversation level, which has 77 dialogues between a woman and a man. And you can jump in, have your pronunciations recorded and played back as a seamless whole. And again, you can do all the quizzes and drills that we saw earlier as well. Now, I'm going to jump over to, and remember, we have videos for each of these levels as well. So,
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
So you see, we can see the entire conversation in video form as well. Now, and sorry, I'll go over now to the postcards. There's a lot to cover. I'm trying to do it as organized as possible.
S'il vous plaît.
So here we have, remember that postcards, guided tour type thing. This will teach all the phrases in in each unit using a narrator, which I just had a narrator turned off, and we can have it automatically play or not.
Here's another all-time classic phrase. Listen carefully to how you would say thank you.
Merci.
And then we have
when thank you just isn't enough, there's always thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.
So I just turned off the narrator. Otherwise, it would have, as he was auto playing through the entire thing. So you could do it hands-free if you like. We also have grammar notes, culture notes, and business notes sprinkled around the course, and also a review mode, gently guided review mode.
Thank you very much. Do you remember how you'd say that?
Merci beaucoup.
So you see, and again, this uses postcard quality photographs as a backdrop to learning these instructional phrases. So I'll go over to the audio tab now. And remember, we're on our own in this. We can do whatever we want. And there's no organization apart from these categories and how things are structured. So
welcome to Pronunciator's Audio Assistant.
So for every unit in Pronunciator, we have at least one. This unit actually has 3 audio lessons available. And these are available for streaming and for download as well. So what it means for French is about 400 hours of instruction. So you can do, an entire year of audio lessons half hour, 1 hour a day for a year, basically. It's a huge amount. And you can do it in different interface languages as well. So like if you're a native Spanish speaker and you're learning English, you can get these audio lessons from Spanish to English as well. So all told, there are over 650,000 hours of audio lessons available. This is about 74 calendar years. You could live your whole life and just have this play in the background as the theme music to your life. So it's an immense amount and nobody else has anywhere near this. I mean, it's just, even Pimsleur is like, a few hundred hours. This is like, anyway, this is like a product within a product. We also have phrase books, and there are about, I think about 6,000 phrase books currently. And these are from any given language to any, like this will be from the English to French phrase book. And this is 59 pages long. Notice it has a clickable table of contents. You can click on beach and it'll go to the page which has the beach phrases on it. And this is good for review and for travel, because the phrase book is made up of these 1,500 expressions from the Powerful Phrases unit. So it's good for, again, tourists and travelers. And if you're, getting a haircut or whatever it may be, you just travel with this. And as I said, we have over 6,000 available. So if you happen to have a Mongolian native speaker about to leave on a trip to Haiti, you can give them a Mongolian to Haitian Creole phrase book. So the possibilities are kind of mind-boggling. Pro Radio uses major label music and lyrics to provide another immersive exposure, to the language. And many of them have the lyrics in sync with the music. Anyway, we would see, as she began to sing, we would see each, there it goes. So it just follows along, so you can read along there. So, and again, so like the movies, we break them into scenes, and we have drills and quizzes for the movies as well. And notice I'll go to scene 3, for example, of this movie, and it'll load it, and so we have quizzes that are integrated as well, listening, reading, spelling, writing, and phrase match. And then we just select whatever one we think is the right answer. So as you see, it's similar, but it takes thumbnails from the movie, so we can recognize it better. And again, so I'll sort of skip over these other things just because we don't have that much time, and I want to also take questions, whatnot. So what I'll do here is I'll just go back once again, and notice that we covered personalized courses and the main course here. And learning guides, again, we have these like 8-week travel prep course, which frankly, I would, at this point, I would recommend if you want travel preparation, that you just create an 8-week travel course for yourself based on your interests. And it would probably be more personalized. But if you don't want to do that, you can just take this, predefined one, and you can hear what it's about by clicking on this little icon.
This 8-week course is for you if you've had a little experience with the language, or you've completed Beginner Course 1. In this course, you'll study basic verbs, vocabulary, and expressions that are essential for communicating in your new language.
So Pronunciator remembers your progress no matter how many courses you've taken. So notice I can resume this course. I don't remember the last time I did it, but it'll take me back to where I left off. And then we have these are all, and there's also a healthcare course, a 6-week healthcare preparation course for frontline healthcare providers. And then we also have something called Pro Tour for select cities. And for Paris, it has 88 videos. Each one covers a different cultural destination in Paris.
Sylvia Beach's original Shakespeare and Company at 8 rue du Cuitrin, later at 12 rue de l'Odéon, is legendary among Parisian Anglophones and American literature nerds alike.
So see, I went full screen on it if I wanted to. And these are organized by neighborhood in the city. This happens to be Latin Quarter Saint-Germain. So, and again, under each neighborhood, you have a variety of different sites and you can learn about. Going back now, let's click that back arrow. Then we can also see there's a French grammar reference, and there are grammar references. And they're all fully narrated with clickable examples.
Se dépêcher. Être.
Notice. And then it covers all these different grammatical topics if you want that grammatical background for the language. So before I wrap things up with the presentation, as I mentioned, I wanted to show you what it looks like for someone who is not a native English speaker. Let's say Spanish is my native. Notice everything goes into Spanish. And let's say I wanted to learn American English so I can make personalized courses. And again, it's all in Spanish context. My profession, everything's in Spanish. There's even and all these interests in Spanish. So the whole wizard is in Spanish. I can also, again, do the main course. I could also go into Pro Library, which is, again, different languages have different features. Pro Library has about 1,000 different instructional phrases organized by library-specific topics. So an English-speaking librarian can use it to manage a dialogue with a Spanish-speaking patron, or vice versa. A Spanish-speaking patron can use this to communicate with a librarian. And again, we have these different learning guides. Now notice we have a couple new things here. This is Pro Citizen, both in English and Spanish. And Pro Citizen is a complete citizenship preparation course for the USCIS naturalization test. And typically we cover 100 questions. So the 100 questions that are on the test. And each has a video assigned to it to give you background on why the answer is what it is. We also have a multiple choice thing just to get your sense of
what is the supreme law of the land?
Just to understand whether you know the answer or not. So if you say the Magna Carta, it'll indicate it's incorrect.
The Constitution is the supreme law of the land.
And again, we have video, instructional video, we have spelling, writing, dictation, and even voice comparison, just again to prepare someone for that test. And we have it narrated in Spanish as well. We also have Pro Citizen Canada, in case any of your patrons are considering emigrating to Canada. they can do that citizenship preparation with that as well. And let me go back and just within the last couple minutes, I just want to of the presentation to show you the American Sign Language. So you can actually create a personalized course for yourself for ASL. So let's say your patron is a nurse. You can select nursing as your occupation, and then your level and all the other things we did. And this will be specifically for ASL. So and it'll be a video course. Let's go into the main. I'll just go back here though. Just give you an idea. Main course, language learning levels. Let's go to core vocabulary. Remember, it's all the organization is the same.
Apple.
And so here we can play it back slow speed. We can also switch the camera angle so we can see it from the side.
Apple.
Again, slow. There's also flashcards to learn, video comparison, as I mentioned. There are also quizzes for the ASL.
Barley.
And then we can click, notice I use English.
Mushroom.
English is my interface language and ASL is my learning, so I can always suppress that translation. Here's listening comprehension quiz.
Mushroom.
And then reading comprehension quiz as well. We see it written and we select the right answer. So as you see, it plays it over again until you get it right. So if you get it wrong, it indicates what the correct one is. So, and there we have 20,000 videos I mentioned on the ASL course. And I think I covered pretty much everything in overview. So I'm going to open up GoToMeeting and see if you have any questions. Feel free to type them in, and I'll answer them. And again, I'm recording this as well, so I can send Allison, if you don't mind, I'll send you the recording later, and then you can share it with whoever likes it, or you can write me directly, and I can send you the link directly. And I'll put in my email address here as well. So yeah, if you have any questions, just type them in, and I'll hang around to answer them. Let's see. So if your library has purchases, how do you log in? I might have missed this because I logged in a tad late. So you log in through the LiLI, the website, which sorry, I don't have the link ready here, so I can't just show you what it looks like. But essentially, the Commission for Libraries provides it to all Idaho libraries, and you just can log in directly through there. And there are two ways of accessing. There's what's called instant access, where the patron can gain full access to the resource for the duration of that session, but nothing is saved, and it's completely anonymous. And then there's the option to register so that you can create your own username and password and log your quiz scores and your progress and just a lot of personalization settings. So there are those two options, but that's how you would log in. So the other question is, so you can change the language in the ASL videos, like listening to ASL videos in Spanish. Yeah, you can have Spanish as your like interface language. Let me just check here. I'll do a random language, like hang on, find like Swedish or something. Okay, I'll just select Swedish as my interface language. I've got American Sign Language, and then I'll just go into that main core vocabulary again.
Apple.
So yeah, you'll hear apple, pronounced in American English, but you'll see it as you see here. That's the Swedish for apple, and
Banana.
you'll see it, in this translation below. So that's how that works. So yeah, I mean, to log in, you just go to lili.org. Thanks, Allison. And like, notice we're in the Swedish interface, so everything. Even if I mouse over any of these icons, everything's in Swedish. And of course, all the menus, the options, the units are all in Swedish, etc. Oops. And And again, this is all, everything I'm showing you here is accessible to the AA level, A and two, AA, WCAG, and it's also responsive. So you can actually just launch this in like your Safari browser and your iPad, for example, and see exactly what we're seeing here. Even though, again, we have an app as well, because some people just will instinctively go to the App Store to look for it. So we have it there as well. Just going to scroll up, see if I miss any questions. Okay. If you have any other questions, I'll stick around for another 5 minutes or so, and if nobody writes any more questions, I'll wrap it up in about 5 minutes time. Thank you all for coming, and I appreciate it. And if you have any questions later on, just write me or call. I'll put the 800 number here. Excellent. Thank you. Oh, I wanted to mention something before I forget. So, you could, we have web graphics that are available as a whole new set. So you can download any of these, just go into, pronunciator.com, web hyphen graphics, and you can download the full set and use whatever size you want or whatever. But we also have I think a LiLI branded, and Allison, if you want any of these customized for LiLI, we're happy to do that. So just let me know. And the other important thing to point out is you can actually get printed materials that will ship to you at no charge with unlimited quantities. So you can just have them around the library. We have bookmarks and postcards and flyers, and it's also the citizenship. Actually, it looks like we're out of that, but we'll get another batch soon. Homeschooler, healthcare, kid-specific postcards, and college university bookmarks. And then also there's table tents and buttons as well. And again, there's free shipping from Wyoming, and it won't take long to get. So thanks, Allison. Yeah. I think we also made a custom Idaho-specific postcard. I don't know if you still have any of those left, but. Oh, okay, yeah. So let me just click that link. I'm not sure everybody can see this. I'll just open that link. Allison saying you could print a LiLI branded pronunciator flyer here at this link. So here is that on the lili.org site. Down at the bottom, there's a LiLI branded pronunciator flyer as well. Thank you for that. So yeah, I'm glad we had this refresher overview, because actually we're up to 100 languages now. Just noticed that, and 56 interface languages. Oh yeah, there's also that course designer, which we're revamping. We could do maybe another training on that down the road. But course designer allows educators, librarians, literacy instructors, tutors, etc., to create custom courses just for their students using Pronunciator content and functionality, and to track their progress as well. So that's something that we have. That's all part of the package as well. And if anybody's interested, I could send further info on that. Yeah, good idea, Allison. I was saying it'd be great to set up a webinar for the revamped course designer. We can do that. We just not. I don't have a clear deadline on when that's going to be ready because we're rewriting the whole thing in HTML5, so it'll look nicer, work nicer. So, but we can do that definitely when that's ready. I'd be happy to do that. And lastly, you notice all these videos. So we're adding. It's over 100,000 video clips we've added already, but we keep on adding new. We're getting the full 5 levels, one language after the next. So like some languages will have all 10,000 videos, like French and Italian and Russian and German, in Spanish, Latin American Spanish. And so either I'm just saying the most popular languages are first, but we're also rolling out other ones like Basque and Galician. And so it's just, it's a vast number of videos we're making. So we just keep adding them every day essentially. So it's just, it's always something new to find when you log in. So, okay, I guess no other questions. We'll wrap it up. And again, thank you all for coming. And Allison, I'll send you that link to the video later as soon as it's processed.